Hello, moment friends! Ending here for another episode of March of the King. When we last left off, we were getting ready to examine all of these files that we found in Care Andros. So let's go ahead and do that to see what the poison stuff is like. This Grey Goo is acidic and watered down. Okay. This Grey Goo is similar but contains bits of what appear to be lichen in it. Okay. Well, let's go speak to the apprentice healer and learn what must be done. A moss, you say? That is no lichen of which I ever heard. And so many wonderment grows, and I find myself drawn to stray from the confining course of Master Galthia has set for me. Yet if I do as he asks, then what study I make beyond is no concern of his. Do you agree? She meets your eye with a new boldness in hers. Let's suppose for a moment that this grey lichen is most deadly and is a main ingredient used in making the poison. Indeed, I recall that I have read of poisonous mosses before. It would not be a stretch. And if we suppose as well that the lichen grows native somewhere within these lands east of the Anduin, there is hope that we may learn more about it. It is unlikely to be a simple matter, but there may be a way to discover more about this lichen. Once, I recall, Master Galthia spoke of a great tome, a supposed great collection of knowledge about the plants and such like of Middle-earth, called Warts and Weeds. When I showed interest, he forbade me from leafing through it, for he said it contained spurious anecdotes of specimens not seen in his age, and besides, it was a damaged copy, far from complete. I have come to doubt much of my master's wisdom, but never mind that. This Words and Weeds was penned by a man of Gondor named Golgolas, who dwelt within Ithilien before it fell under the shadow, and it is said it was widely read and copied by the herbalists of that day. Do you think? Would you visit the ruins and places of North Ithilien and discover if any pages of that book still remain? Torngroth, Caer Andros, or Osgiliath, for example? Who can say? Perhaps good old Iareth would share the pages Galthia would not. Meanwhile, I have asked the rangers to provide me passage to the edge of the wastes. Although they took much convincing, they have agreed. If I am to gain a better understanding of this lichen, I shall need to be closer to the lands of the enemy, no matter how hostile they may be. They plan to take me to an army encampment, one with which they claim you are familiar. When you've gathered as much as you can of the Words and Weeds, find me far to the north. Alright, we have our task set out for us. We have to collect 8 pages of this thing. So here we go, all over North Ithilien once again, to discover these pages. While scouting the halls of healing in Osgiliath, you have found a decaying volume of Worts and Weeds. Judging by the crumbling remains it seems likely that this could have been the original version written by Golgolas of Ithilien. The pages are largely in poor condition, and those that are still legible have sustained some water damage from the ruined cisterns nearby. You carefully pick up the volume, mark the legible pages, and stow it away. Alright, that gave us the complete amount of one more page. That's great. That's great. I really don't like this quest because it leads you into a false sense that, like, oh, you found, a bunch of stuff, when really you just found a few, because it says, like, 6 out of 8, but really you're trying to find, like, 100 pages, and it'll tell you found multiple pages, and then only add 1 here, which is very annoying. I don't know where we're supposed to get the final 2. I have absolutely no idea. Certainly not in this hall. And I'm kind of annoyed by this quest, I'll be honest. This is not exactly how I wanted to end things off, that's for sure. Alright, so we still need to find 2 more somewhere. It looks like they're all up in Caer Andros. which is really annoying because we just came from there after having killed a ton of orcs there to get more pages. So we get to go all the way back up there. Yay! Alright, so we finally got that next to last page. The final page is with this lady. You have come all this way just to see Gallia's transcription of words and weeds. That's enough walking for you, Andang. Now wait here a moment. Ioreth walks over to a nearby bookshelf and rummages through a few heavy tomes. She finally pulls out something that more closely resembles a sheaf of crumbling papers than a book, and then walks back over to you. Why, you could hardly call this a volume. Why does he keep this thing about, I wonder, if he thinks so poorly of it? Here, you take it. Perhaps he will end up being of more help without it. Do not worry, Andang. If he asks for it, I shall tell him that you and Migmel had need of it for your task. Oh, and tell the king I wish his campaign well when you see him next. Alright, collected 12 heavy annotated pages of words and weeds. Alright, time to go and find Migmel at the camp of the host. You have found Migmel, and should tell her of the pages you found. I am glad you have come, Andang. Even with so many here, there is a feeling of loneliness in the air. These men stare into the face of death, not that of a triumphant victory. I speak true, do I not? I can see it in your eyes. Something other than victory drives this advance, a purpose born of valor and kinship. I will not ask you of it, and I shall not tell the people of Minas Tirith of what I have learned here. Despair is a mighty force, and it can consume far more than hope alone. I have thought enough on the matter. Let us speak of more hopeful things. I see you have brought many pages to me, but what is that under your arm? Milgamel takes the crumbling volume of words and weeds from you. This could be the original volume by Golgalas. It is ruined but for a few pages, but such a find you have made. Let me look at this for a time, and you should bind the other pages together into one. I am certain you have the complete volume between them all. Alright, we will do more work here. You have bound the full volume of Words and Weeds by Golgalas of Athelion. Well, that's great. I cannot thank you enough for your help with this, Andang. Master Galathir hoped to merely survey Athelion and gather some known herbs, but now I am on this journey. I feel my sight reaches far beyond this kin. What we can learn from this finished volume? Why, for one, about these poisonous lichen, and how it might heal the northern wastes from their long blight. Even with the looming battle ahead, we must take time to tend to these lands. If they fail us, any other victory may ring hollow. Should these brave men return from battle, they must return to a beautiful Gondor brimming with new life, in place of all that was lost. I shall need much time to study Golgalas's work, but I believe we can bring forth a new life in these blasted lands. Alright, finally finished that questline. That was probably the most annoying questline that we have dealt with. Alright, it is finally time to hopefully finish out this entire series by talking with Aragorn.
Thank you for assisting Dweemhir and his men.
With Caer Andros under our control and the bridge of the Morgul Vale destroyed, I am no longer worried about an attack from behind. We must remain ever focused as we tread further north, into lands choked and wilting by a noose of waste, where nothing grows. This will be a test of all our spirits. I am certain of this. Alright, well that does bring this series to an end. Thank you everyone so much for watching this episode of March of the King. I've thoroughly enjoyed the questline, except for the floral quests. I think the entire floral system is kind of a mistake. I don't really see the purpose of it. And this real major focus on flowers just seemed kind of out of place from the tone of the rest of the zone. and it was, some filler quests. I think it could have been better implemented to where we weren't going back over the entire zone 3 or 4 or maybe even more times. It felt very much so that we were just kind of repeating and going through the motions, and it was just drawn out for the ending. And I think the zone would have been much better without those quests included, at least without all the repeatables and having to go over it again and again and again. But overall, the story was just fantastic on the side quest side, and the epic story was absolutely amazing. I can't wait for update 20. I really am excited to see what is coming up there and seeing how we handle the move towards the Black Gate and just these barren wastelands as we get close to Mordor. Which, by the way, Mordor is coming up, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to see how Turbine handles that. They did such a great job with this update and Pelennor Fields. I can't wait to see how they handle the Battle at the Black Gate. I think that'll be fantastic. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this update, what you are looking forward to in the coming updates, and anything else you want to talk about. A big thanks to all of my patrons for helping support this series. A big thanks to Turbine, or now Standing Stone Games, for making this update. It was really awesome, and obviously couldn't be making this series without you guys. So thank you so much for making this great game. And finally, thank you all so much for watching. Every time you like, comment, or just watch these videos, it really does help. So thank you all so much. Once again, a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for supporting this series. And finally, thank you everyone so much for watching. When we return, it will be update 20. But that is not till next time. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for more content.